The hidden meaning of lack of friends. You might think it's a sign that something is wrong with you. That you're failing socially, that you're behind in life, or that you're somehow less valuable because you don't have a big circle of people around you. But what if the truth is completely different? What if having few friends, or even no friends for a period of your life, carries a hidden meaning the world rarely talks about? The Stoics believe that solitude is not a punishment. It is a mirror. A test. And sometimes even a sign that a person is evolving faster than their environment. In a world obsessed with popularity, numbers, and constant social validation, walking alone can feel like a curse. But according to Stoic philosophy, it can actually be one of the strongest phases of personal growth. In this video, we will explore what the lack of friends truly reveals about your character, your evolution, your values, and how to use this period of solitude to build inner strength, emotional resilience, and a deeper sense of purpose. This is not a video about being antisocial. It's about understanding the deeper meaning of loneliness, and discovering why the Stoics believe that the path to wisdom often begins when you stand alone. Part 1. Why Stoics didn't fear solitude. The Stoics had a radically different view of solitude compared to modern society. Today, being alone is often treated as something negative, a sign of social failure or emotional weakness. But for the Stoics, solitude was a training ground. A place where a person discovers who they truly are when no one is watching, judging, or influencing them. Marcus Aurelius wrote that a person who cannot find peace within themselves will never find peace among others. This means that solitude is not something to escape, but something to understand. If you panic when you're alone, the problem is not the lack of people, it's the lack of inner stability. Stoics believe that friendships should be built on virtue, not convenience. This is why they never chased large social circles. Epictetus reminded his students that it is better to walk alone than to walk with those who push you away from your highest self. Having no friends is rarely the real issue. Having the wrong friends is. When you are alone, you gain clarity. You see your habits, your flaws, your strengths, and your values without the noise of the crowd. Solitude exposes you to yourself, and this makes many people uncomfortable. But it is precisely this discomfort that produces growth. To a Stoic, being alone is not a sign you're failing. It's a sign you have the opportunity to build the kind of inner strength that cannot be taken away by rejection, betrayal, or abandonment. Solitude is not your enemy. It is the place where you sharpen your mind, strengthen your character, and prepare for the relationships that truly matter. Part 2. The hidden meaning behind having few friends. Most people assume that having few friends is a sign of social failure. But often, it reveals something much deeper about your character and your stage of life, something the Stoics understood long before modern psychology confirmed it. The first hidden meaning is value shift. When you grow mentally, emotionally, or spiritually, you naturally outgrow people who stay the same. This isn't arrogance, it's evolution. You no longer connect with gossip, drama, shallow conversations, or people who don't move forward. The distance you feel is not a lack of friends, it's a change in priorities. The second meaning is higher standards. Stoic philosophy teaches that friendship should be rare, not common. True friends challenge you, support your growth, and reflect your highest values. When your standards rise, the number of people who qualify inevitably decreases. The circle becomes smaller, but stronger. The third meaning is self-sufficiency. People who can stay alone without collapsing emotionally are often the ones who develop the deepest inner strength. Dependence creates attachment, solitude creates resilience. If you are comfortable on your own, it means you're not looking for friends to fill a void, and this makes your relationships healthier and more authentic. The fourth hidden meaning is misalignment with your environment. Sometimes you have few friends simply because you are not in the right place, not physically, but mentally. Your ambitions, values, or worldview might not match the people around you. This mismatch can make you feel isolated, even when surrounded by others. But it also means you are meant to find, or build, a different environment. Having few friends does not define your worth. It often means you're becoming more selective, more self-aware, and more aligned with who you truly are. And sometimes, it simply means you're in a transformation phase, one the Stoics considered essential for inner strength. Part 3, when lack of friends is a sign of growth. There are moments in life when losing friends or having fewer people around you is not a loss, it's a transition. A natural consequence of inner evolution. Stoic philosophy teaches that personal growth rarely happens in groups. It happens in moments of discomfort, reflection, and silence. One major sign of growth is when you stop tolerating what you once accepted. The jokes that used to amuse you now feel empty. The conversations that once entertained you now feel draining. The behaviors you ignored now feel unacceptable. This shift is not loneliness, it's maturity. You're no longer willing to shrink yourself to belong. Another sign is the pursuit of purpose. When you start focusing on your goals, your discipline, your healing, or your self-improvement, your social circle naturally shrinks. Not because people necessarily dislike you, but because your priorities no longer match theirs. Growth changes your direction, and not everyone will walk the same path. A third sign is emotional independence. Many friendships exist because people fear being alone. But when you develop inner strength, you stop needing others for validation, entertainment, or distraction. This creates a quieter life, but also a stronger mind. The Stoics believe that the person who needs nothing is the hardest to manipulate. The final sign is alignment with authenticity. As you become more honest with yourself, you also become more honest with others. You stop pretending, stop playing roles, and stop forcing connections. This reduces your circle, but dramatically improves your life. The absence of friends during such phases is not a sign that you're broken, it's proof that you're transforming into a more grounded, focused, and self-aware version of yourself. Part 4, when lack of friends is a warning signal. While solitude can be a powerful phase of growth, there are moments when having no friends is not a sign of strength, but a signal that something needs attention. Stoic philosophy encourages self-honesty, and that includes recognizing when isolation comes from unhealthy patterns. One warning sign is avoidance. If you isolate yourself because you fear rejection, judgment, or vulnerability, this isn't Stoic strength, it's emotional protection. Growth requires facing discomfort, not hiding from it. If solitude feels like a shield rather than a choice, it may be time to address the fears behind it. Another red flag is bitterness. If you start believing that people are the problem, or that no one is worth your time, you might be closing the door to meaningful relationships. Stoics did not reject humanity, they rejected unhealthy attachments. Isolation fueled by anger or resentment won't lead to growth, only stagnation. A third warning sign is self-neglect. If your lack of friends comes from low self-esteem, poor communication, or social anxiety you're not working on, then solitude becomes a cage instead of a temple. The goal is not to avoid people, but to become strong enough to choose the right ones. The last red flag is disconnection from community. Humans naturally need some form of support system. Not a huge circle, but at least a few meaningful connections. If you feel empty, numb, or directionless because no one is around, it's a sign your inner world needs care, not silence. Stoicism isn't about cutting everyone off. It's about building yourself so you can connect from a place of strength, not desperation. Part 5, Stoic lessons to turn solitude into strength. If you're going through a period with few or no friends, the Stoics didn't want you to feel ashamed, they wanted you to use it. Solitude is not just empty space, it is a forge. A place where the mind is reshaped and the character is rebuilt. Here are the core Stoic lessons that transform isolation into inner strength. 1. Master your inner dialogue. According to Stoicism, the most important conversation you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. When you're alone, your thoughts become louder. Instead of trying to silence them with distractions, analyze them. Question them. Strengthen them. A mind you cannot sit with is a mind you cannot control. 2. focus on what you can control. The Stoics taught that suffering comes from trying to control what lies outside your power, including people, friendships, and social approval. Solitude becomes empowering when you shift your energy toward what you can influence: your discipline, your mind, your habits, your reactions. 3. Build routines that ground you. Without friends around, your time is entirely yours. Use it to create habits that make you stronger: reading, training, journaling, meditating, building skills. Consistency becomes your companion. Discipline becomes your friend. These routines give structure to a quiet life. 4. Learn to be your own source of validation. Most people rely on others to feel important. But the Stoics believe that self-respect must come from your actions, not from the applause of others. When you stop chasing external approval, you become unshakable. You move through the world with confidence, not neediness. 5. Practice emotional detachment. Solitude teaches you not to cling. Not to expect. Not to demand. This detachment doesn't make you cold, it makes you stable. When you don't depend on others for your emotional balance, you connect from a place of freedom instead of fear. 6. Strengthen your purpose. Quiet moments make your life's direction clearer. Without noise and distractions, you can hear what truly matters to you. Purpose grows in silence, not in crowds. The Stoics didn't see solitude as being left out. They saw it as the most powerful training environment for anyone becoming their strongest self. Part 6. How to build high-quality connections, not more friends. The Stoics never aimed to collect a large circle of people. They aimed to build meaningful, virtuous, and purpose-aligned connections. The goal is not to have more friends, but to have the right ones, the kind that elevate your life instead of draining it. The first step is alignment. You attract the right people when you live according to your values. Honesty attracts honesty. Discipline attracts discipline. Purpose attracts purpose. When you become the type of person you admire, you naturally meet others walking the same path. Second, focus on quality over quantity. A single genuine friend is worth more than 50 shallow acquaintances. High-quality connections challenge you, support your growth, and respect your boundaries. They don't demand your attention, they appreciate your presence. Third, practice intentional communication. Most relationships fail because people talk without listening. Listen deeply, speak clearly, and express yourself with calm confidence. Stoics believe that communication should be simple, direct, and free from manipulation. Fourth, step into environments that reflect who you are becoming, not who you were. Join communities, clubs, gyms, or circles where people share your mindset and goals. The right context creates the right connections. Finally, be patient. Stoic friendship is rare, and rarity takes time. Don't rush. Don't force. Don't chase. Let people reveal themselves through consistency. Let trust grow slowly, not instantly. You don't need many friends to live a meaningful life. You just need a few people who match your character, respect your growth, and walk beside you with integrity. Part 7. Conclusion: the real strength behind having few friends. In a world obsessed with popularity, being alone is often misunderstood. People think having few friends means something is wrong with you. But the truth, the Stoic truth, is far deeper. Sometimes, solitude isn't a sign of weakness. It is a sign that you have reached a stage of life where you refuse to settle for the superficial, the noisy, the chaotic, or the meaningless. Lack of friends can expose two things: who you are becoming, and what you are no longer willing to tolerate. It reveals your values, your priorities, and the inner transformation happening beneath the surface. You are not supposed to stay surrounded by people who no longer align with your path. Growth narrows your circle, but strengthens your direction. Solitude also forces you to face yourself, your fears, your habits, your desires, your flaws. Most people run from this. They hide behind constant company to avoid confronting their inner world. But when you learn to stand alone, you become someone who cannot be easily broken, manipulated, or distracted. You build a core that is stable, disciplined, and unshakable. The goal is not to reject people. The goal is to become strong enough that you don't need them to feel complete. From this place of inner strength, you can create higher quality relationships, deeper, calmer, more authentic. Not based on fear or loneliness, but on mutual growth and respect. So if you have few friends, don't rush to fill the space. Don't panic. Don't assume you're failing. Use this season to build your mind, sharpen your purpose, and elevate your character. The right people will arrive when you become the right person. Solitude isn't emptiness. It's preparation. And what you build in silence becomes the power you carry into every part of your life.